Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Daily with Jay and Clay. We're glad you made it. We have some exciting information to share with you on your journey through VA disability compensation, all of the kind of side shoots that you need to be aware of and understand that you need to take advantage of these different aspects along the way. Otherwise, right, Clay, you're going to be left with the, I wish I would have known 10 years ago or whatever it is. So that's what we're here for, is to help walk you through it here on this channel, which we collectively do for your benefit. The whole idea behind this is so there can be some dialogue, some back and forth conversations, different viewpoints, different way of sharing things. And I know, Clay, you and I have had many conversations about how we want to get information out to veterans. And I will tell you, many hands make light work. So, hey, do your part, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel to expand its reach. And that's what it's all about, just getting the information out there. So with that, Clay, please lead us through what we're going to talk about today and how important it is. And oh, by the way, I'm going to throw out there to you guys, stick with us through this as long as you can. I get it. The first video we do is typically a long one, but the longer you can stay on, the more little nuancy things you're going to hear, and it's going to help to push this out to more. All right, Clay, give us the breakdown.
Yeah, before I give the breakdown, I got to say, man, Jason and I, we've been doing Veterans Daily. It'll be a year in February. And every single intro Jason has done, there's no writing or scripting or thinking. He kind of just, blah, and it comes out. And it's just, every time I see it, I'm just like, man, good for you, man.
That's funny.
So on that note, we're talking about what is after 100% disability. Okay, so it's 100%. There's P&T. You also have TDIU in there as well. That becomes more than likely P&T. But mainly your benefits. And there are benefits that are time sensitive, meaning you get that decision letter today. You are P&T. What do you have to do? And there is a timeline that you really need to, celebrate, be happy, but then get your butt in gear and apply for more benefits. So that's what we're really going to talk about, is the time-sensitive benefits, and then all the other benefits that can come, later on down the road if you want. And I'm going to start it off with this, Jason. It's something that most veterans know about, but that is state taxes. Okay, property tax exemptions. Now, not every state, it's about half. I want to say it's a little bit less than half that have some kind of property tax exemption. Some of those are full. Some of those are via acreage. I think Virginia has 3 acres of property tax exemption and 1 vehicle, right? Illinois has a 70% property tax exemption. So if you're 70% or higher, you get property tax exemption. Food for thought, there's legislation in Illinois state to raise that bar from 70 to 100. So that just goes to show, wherever you live, you need to understand your state benefits when it comes to taxes. And on a time-sensitive side, I'll speak for Virginia, Jason, and then I'm going to go ahead and kick it to you. In Virginia, you can get back pay. Don't quote me on this. I think it's 2 years. It might be 3. But let's say I get 100% P&T today. I have 2 years, or whatever the back pay number is, to file my property tax. And then I get back pay. Okay. I actually got back pay for property tax exemption because it took forever to file. It took about 1.5 years for it to actually go through the entire process. And that's a lot of back pay. Some states and some counties, there's no back pay, right? And so that time sensitive criteria really becomes important, because then you want to file that day. And that's just food for thought. That's just one example. Jason, I'm going to push it to you on state benefits as far as time sensitive goes.
Right. I'm going to back up just a second here. As soon as you get to 100%, okay, before you get to the permanent and total aspect, and oh, by the way, check with your state once you get to anything substantial anyway, as far as a rating is concerned, because there's a whole host of different benefits, from hunting licenses to state parks. And even in some cases, there might, as you alluded to, the 70%, there's some that will allow a property tax exemption at a lower rate. Once you're at 100% rating, really your first thought, in my opinion, should be, okay, let me go through my rating and see if really I might actually qualify for permanent and total. I know it sounds wild. I know it sounds wild, Clay. The VA doesn't always get it right. Go figure. So here's my example, right? Somebody who runs out the gate, files a claim, gets 100%, the VA is probably going to get it right with regard to, either 100% or permanent and total based on, CFR and M21, all that good stuff, future examinations and so forth. But somebody, which you and I agree that most people are filing multiple claims. It's, okay, let's take another swing at it. Now I got to add more evidence. Now I got to do this. Oh, here's a secondary. Oh, I forgot to file this. Next thing you know, you're 4, 5, 6, 8 claims in. Well, the VA doesn't really do a good job at really stacking up and going back and looking at your old ones to see if they're static or not. Should we place you on permanent and total, or are you regular scheduler? So do a self-audit or work with an accredited representative that can peek into the VBS system to see where you fall. That should be your number one, I think, thing, because so many more benefits, Clay, open up, as you know, which is the whole purpose of this, once you actually cross that threshold to permanent and total. You can call the VA, ask them, hey, look, I'm veteran so-and-so. I'm calling in, just wanted to check on all of my claimed conditions. Can you tell me which ones are static? They may tell you over the phone which ones are just labeled as static. And guess what? If you have enough claimed conditions that equal in VA funny math 100% that are static, according to the VA, you should be permanent and total. And it happened to me. That's why I'm throwing this out there to folks is I had enough to be permanent and total. They were static. I had to knock on the VA's door and say, hey, look, they're all static. Why aren't, how come I'm not at permanent and total? So this is not a deep dive into that, what you need to do and all the different things, but it's the first thing that I think I would do is just see if they got it right, work with an accredited rep, call the VA directly, see if you're there, and then if you're not, just start working on building evidence for the static nature of conditions to show that they're either static, they've been kind of in the same path or going worse over the last X number of years, and be prepared for your future examinations on those future examination conditions. All right. Whew. Is there anything you want to add to that, though, before I jump into
I want to give a
thing?
millennial spin to that, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to make an old man joke, although I kind of just did by saying that, right? The millennial spin is on the VA app, which the VA got this right. Their app is absolutely awesome. You can look at benefits, you can scroll down, and on your rating, it will say you are considered permanently and totally disabled, P&T. It will either be highlighted or it won't, right? And that right there would tell me, hey, I am P&T. But I'm so glad you brought up that it happened to you, because I have a feeling that if we just said the VA doesn't get P&T right all the time, most people would be like, that's not true. But it is, in fact, true. Jason was P&T technically, but the VA didn't award him P&T. And what that does is that takes away a ton of benefits. There's the largest segregation in VA benefits. There's 2 of them. It's 90 to 100, obviously, right?
Right.
And then 100 to 100% P&T. There's a very clear line
of
benefits for P&Ters. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add. The VA app also has that as well. But I guess you have to be, young, strong, and handsome to use the VA app. Something like that. I think so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, you did do a video where you had that little self-reflection thing. I remember that. All right. Okay. Yeah. Where you were young and beautiful. I love it. All right. So when it comes to the states, this is what I want to put in there. And it's probably not what you're thinking I'm going to say about the states when it comes to different state benefits. You brought up, obviously, the state real estate property tax exemption, which is great. There's obviously others. I'm going to let you chime in on the others, but I'm gonna front load it with this.
Mm-hmm.
Every state out there is vying for veterans to stay in their state or move to their state. How? By providing state veteran benefits. Okay, why are they providing state veteran benefits? They don't need to, right? No state has to. There's all these federal benefits, right? The reason why and I'm just going to use the big three states, and the big three are veteran population. So you have Florida, Texas, and California. Those are the three monster states for veteran population. Combined, Clay, those three states, from their veterans that are living there, from disability compensation only, so no retired pay, no school, no Chapter 35, nothing like that, right? Just disability compensation. Over $30 billion a year driven into those states from the federal government through veterans, right? So the state is not paying that money out, but it's showing up in their state. And guess what veterans are really good at, Clay? Not saving their money. So we're going to go out and we're going to buy a new this and a new that and upgrade this and go out to dinner and go to the bar or whatever we do, right? So we're supporting the economic ecosystem of the state with billions of dollars, $30 billion between those three states. So you can bet that the states want veterans to stay there, because the other thing is one, we're in a way incentivized to continue to report our ailments, potentially increasing our benefits. We aren't going to qualify for social services type of benefits, from the counties or the state. So we're not a drain on the ecosystem. We have our own federal low and no income safety net program, such as VA pension and, oh, by the way, spouse pension. So states love us. They want us in there. So I'm going to just throw out there that if you are not theoretically or metaphorically knocking on your state legislators' doors saying, we need to have an X or a Y or a better this or a better that, you're wrong. And there's two ways to do it, in my opinion. You could either do it yourself, go have a talk with your state representative, right? Or you can put money into memberships at the, DAV, American Legion, whatever. And that's a legislative kind of lobbying body that will kind of do it for you. But be involved to whatever capacity you can, because look, at the end of the day, there's a lot of groups out there that are loud and they get the things that they want for their groups. We're a group and we need to stick together and we need to be loud so we can get the things that we actually earned and deserve. Without us, there would be no elected officials. So at the end of the day, there's always that. Okay, Clay, I'm going to kick it back to you. That's my setup for the states, because the states do have a plethora of benefits, but this is why, right? It's not because they love veterans. Here you go. It's the right thing to do. No, it's because they want our money to be spent in the states. I mean, at the end of the day, right? So what other things do you have on the top of your mind about state benefits? And then I'll come back in and wrap up.
So the time sensitive state benefits are definitely your property tax exemption, which is real estate, and most states have one primary vehicle. Again, in Virginia, that's exactly what it is, right? There's an acreage for your real estate. It's one primary vehicle. And let's say I have a vehicle, my wife has a vehicle. Let's just hypothetically say my wife's car is way more expensive than mine, so we're going to pay more taxes. As long as I'm on that title, even as a secondary, we can choose for that vehicle to have the property state exemption for that tax. Most states do it that way. And when I say most states, I mean the ones that have property state exemptions. Now, there are other state benefits that are not time sensitive, okay? But I would say property, if I get P&T today, the very first thing I'm doing is looking at property state benefits for sure. Or property state, oh my goodness. Property
vehicle
tax
registration and your real estate property tax exemptions.
State tax exemptions. Yeah. There are other state benefits like state schools. I believe there are 6 states, and don't quote me on any of these, that have state school benefits. Okay. I know 3 off the top of my head because I live in Virginia. I'm from Kentucky, and we're probably moving to Alabama at some point. And all 3 of those states also have state school exemption, which is, in my opinion, probably the most ground changing, like you're looking at generational wealth.
Right.
It's this benefit, right? And I'll use myself as an example. I have 4 children. My 4 children are going to have the ability to go to Virginia if I stay here, or Alabama state schools if I move there. They're going to have the ability to go to school for free, which is insane, right? That's not including Chapter 35. Okay. I'm sure we'll bring that up. And so now Chapter 35 could seriously pay their room and board and their food. And then that college bill could be zero. In fact, your dependent could probably pocket some of that. That assumes they're not playing beer pong every single day or whatever it is that college kids do. But as far as state benefits, those are really the main two that I would look at. But yeah.
Absolutely. I think the school thing is huge. I mean, let's not sugarcoat things, right? A lot of times, we have individuals who join the military that come from a more of a tougher background, right? You weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? So, and because of that, you were looking at options. One of the options was the military. Great option. You jumped on it. Now, actually, the schools can be it just depends on the state. For example, California and Texas both have educational programs too. You got the Hazelwood Act in Texas. In California, you have the CalVet tuition fee waiver program. I'm going to use that one as the example because I think it's actually phenomenal, and all states should just do this because it's the right thing for veterans and their families. If you have any rating at all, your dependent child can go to any state school tuition free all the way through to a doctorate, which is just mind blowing to me. So that's amazing, tuition free. And depending on whether you have a 0 or a 10% rating, or if you're 100%, we'll say permanent in total with Chapter 35 as a little bumper add-on, then your spouse could also go to a state school tuition free if you're at 100%. And if you are at 100% permanent in total, one of the programs in which they allow the dependent children to go to school will allow them to receive the Chapter 35 benefit. There's 2 different ones that they have there. It's either an income-based version for the child. Child can only make so much dollars per year while they're going to school. And then the other is age-based. They got to complete school by age, 26 or something. So those are a couple great programs. And guess what? The veteran does not need to live in the state. The dependent has to live in the state. So there's a lot of options, and depending on what folks are looking for, especially the children, right, the dependents looking for as far as a job is concerned, a degree, a doctorate, a master's, whatever, it could absolutely be the tool to get there. In other cases, like you said, Clay, we're talking about Chapter 35. There could be technical type training opportunities that are accepted as well. Not everybody wants to go sit in a classroom for, you can only write so many papers before your head wants to pop. So anyway.
That's me right now. I'm in a master's program and I have 2 papers due.
See,
2 days, actually.
So I enrolled into an online doctorate program, not like a real doctor, right? Educational doctorate degree. And my first class, turn in like this 14-page paper. It was so bad, they actually just rejected it and said, we're not even going to grade it. We're going to pretend we didn't see it, and you just do it again. And I said, I don't really need this. I'm just going to drop out because now I already know how bad that sucked. So, yeah, I thought it's just going to be like my master's, like just keep going. But no, it's definitely more sucky than that. So, no, especially for no reason. No.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm probably going to explore a PhD program after this master's. So
good for you.
That sucks. Now,
that's fun.
Going from state benefits, there are 2 other. So there's 3 benefits that are time sensitive, right? The state benefits is one, specifically the property tax exemptions for your home and one vehicle. There's two other time-sensitive benefits, meaning when I say time-sensitive, I mean I'm awarded 100% P&T right now today. I'm going to file for these, and the second one is actually automated, which is why it's time-sensitive. It's from Nelnet, Nelnet. Essentially, if you had a federal student loan, and that part is key, a federal student loan,
Right.
okay, it will be waived completely. No interest, no anything. So if you made no payments and you kept deferring, you get 100% P&T. I'm going to retract that. You don't even need P&T. It's just 100%. Okay.
Mm.
So you are rated at 100% at least. Then Nelnet is automated. The reason it's time sensitive is because you can actually defer that automation. Let's say you have a few semesters of school left. You want to get back on that federal student loan. You can do that. And then after those semesters, you can just contact Nelnet, and you're going to have to figure out how to do that yourself, but you can Google it. It's not that hard at all. And it's a one-time forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
If you forget to do it and it's automated and it already happens, that's it. It's gone. It is when I say one time, it is a true one time, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. A lot of questions I get, Jason, on the federal student loan is, well, what if I co-sign for my wife or my spouse, excuse me? What if I co-sign for anyone else? Doesn't matter, right? Those are not going to be waived. So sucks to suck. Sorry. But for you, the veteran, it's a veteran benefit that is waived. Have you heard about the Nelnet? Because it is one of those benefits that really gets swiped under the rug, and it just kind of happens in the background. Actually, one of my friends had federal student loans, and he didn't even know about the forgiveness. And then he got a letter in the mail, and he called me. He was like, "Hey, man, can you tell me what this is?" I was like, "Oh, congrats, dude. You don't have any more student loans." And he was just, I mean, that's insane, right? That's a huge benefit that, again, I think gets slept on a lot. But what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of those little hidden gems, and it's easy to forget about it when it's not in front of your face. And what I mean is like for the me's and you's, I don't have any federal debts.
Yeah.
I never personally used it. I knew about it. We've talked about it. We used to talk about it at when I was the veteran service officer. Our office would talk to people about it, but it does need more awareness because people get just you put the blinders on and you just start going down the road, and you're working your job, you're doing this, you're either deferring and making sure that you can defer because you keep your classes going, right? Let me just enroll again and defer, right? Or now I'm on some sort of a payment plan and I'm just making payments to it, and you don't realize that this is even an opportunity, and then all of a sudden you get to 100% and nobody tells you, right? There should be, in my opinion, in VA award letters, the decision letters that come back to you once you get to key things like 100%. Fine, they have all the legal garbage in there that makes it a big fat packet that's annoying to try to even get through, so nobody really reads it. Fine, still have all that, but have 2 or 3 different pages in there that are pink pages, green pages, blue whatever, colored paper that stands out from everything else that says, hey, if you have a federal student debt, go here, get it waived. Hey, if you have a dependent child or spouse that wants to go to school, Chapter 35 available, X dollars per month, right? They should have 3 or 4 different pages of different things to spark it in that veteran's mind to look deeper into it. So all I could say is, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's insane. And I don't want to turn this into a bashing VA session, but I love to do it when given the opportunity. It's insane to me that out of this 50-page decision letter, the VA can't, 1, reduce it, and 2, add 1 page that just says, hey, here are your benefits, Chapter 35, ChampVA, just a 1-pager with links.
Right.
If
Right.
you want healthcare
The barn
for your
style.
family, ChampVA,
Right.
federal student loan forgiveness, blah, 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 blah. Maybe saying, hey, and this might be too much, but hey, a little one-liner. Don't forget about your state benefits. Like, why can't that be in
Right.
there? It's the game of you don't know what you don't know. But that is the federal student loan forgiveness, which is time sensitive. And the last one is ChampVA. And I like our discussion on this, Jason, because we are two opposite ends of the spectrum here. I personally don't use ChampVA.
Oh, yeah.
Jason does, right? And so ChampVA is time sensitive because it takes forever to go through. I think the last I heard was about 7 months was the average. I would probably assume, as a planning factor, I would just assume 9 months. And that is 9 months of possibly a gap in healthcare coverage for your family, which is a huge deal. I can tell you right now, if we didn't have health insurance, we'd be screwed. I'll tell you that. Okay.
Right.
So Jason, on ChampVA, because you use it, let's talk about ChampVA real quick.
So number one, my suggestion is if you qualify for ChampVA, apply for it and get it, period. Because if you have other insurance in place, it just becomes a secondary insurance for you, really, a supplemental, if you will. So that is the first thing. Then what happens is if you ever lose your primary insurance through whatever, Blue Cross or Kaiser or whatever it is, when that goes away in life, you already have established your ChampVA. Now, there is one thing you have to do. You have to call and say, hey, look, I don't have my primary anymore. We need to move ChampVA to the primary. Okay. And that's what I had to do for my my spouse and my son. Okay. So it was a supplement type of insurance, had another primary, got rid of that, and then moved that to the primary. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what does it really cover? Right? I mean, it doesn't sound like it would be that great. Just by the name of it, it doesn't sound like it's just some,
VA
you know, it doesn't really ring like a full-fledged insurance. I mean, TRICARE barely even sounds like that, but whatever. TRICARE sounds more beneficial than ChampVA, right? And for ChampVA, you're not going to your VA doctor, for this. So the question now is, what sort of benefits are out there? Everything is the answer. I mean, it's inpatient, it's outpatient, it's your pharmaceuticals, all that stuff. It is ambulatory care. It is all the things that you would think of with it. Now, once you get to a certain age or requirements as far as Medicare, once you qualify for Medicare, you have to apply and get Medicare as well. And then what happens is it then slides back behind Medicare as a supplement to that. So there's some little things that you have to look at with regard to making sure that it's set up right, because you don't want to not have it. You definitely want to have it. So my suggestion is anytime you have something changing in your health insurance world for you and your family, make a call to the VA, ChampVA's phone number, make a call and ask them, hey, how is this going to impact me? Is there anything I need to do? I'm losing my other insurance. Now we just have ChampVA. Is there anything I need to do? Yes, there is. We need to move that to become the primary. Okay, thank you very much. We're now eligible for Medicare. Is there anything we need to do? Yes, you need to apply for, A and B. Okay, thank you. Right. So don't guess. Don't say you don't qualify for something. Make the phone call to the VA directly. They're great. They're great at the ChampVA phone number. It's not a long wait time like some other numbers. So is there anything you wanted to add, Clay?
Yeah, ChampVA, and people get this wrong all the time, and I want to be very clear here. Us as veterans, so for instance, Jason has ChampVA. Jason can't use ChampVA because Jason uses VA healthcare or another private insurance, which we know he doesn't have now. Jason's family uses ChampVA. That's what ChampVA is. It is actual health insurance, not for the veteran. So sorry, sucks to suck. Veterans have VA healthcare. ChampVA is for dependents. And want to make that very, very clear. The only thing I'll add on ChampVA is recently, and it was this year, 2024, there was a big change to ChampVA coverage, which was an addition of, not taking away. And now they do telehealth appointments for like mental health and just all kinds of stuff. And it really catered to the rural areas that don't have access to, you know, maybe in-network facilities. And so ChampVA has made a huge push on just telehealth appointments in general. And that's new as of this year. And so that would probably be the one thing I'd add. And one last thing too, because I just thought about it. If you get 100% P&T, because I'm thinking time sensitive, right? You do your state benefits, you call NailNet, you get that all figured out. The next thing you're going to do is decide if you need ChampVA. That's a decision you have to make with your family. It's not just, you know, willy-nilly, I'm going to sign up for ChampVA. Definitely understand your situation. You know, if you have a private or if you have a primary insurance, do you want a secondary? What does that cover? What's your health like? What's your family's health like? There's a billion little factors that go into that. And so, you know, Jason and I, we're giving you the information. At the end of the day, you have to decide if ChampVA is for you. And if you make that decision, it's time sensitive because it's going to take 6 to 9 months to actually go through. And that's a really, really big deal. But that's all I have on ChampVA, Jason. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a couple more things to just kind of you know, bring it all the way around for folks. So ChampVA, right? As far as the things that they cover, I just pulled it up here just so I can rattle through them real quick. Inpatient and outpatient care, mental health care, prescription drugs, durable medical equipment, family planning and maternity care, hospice care, huge, right? None of us are getting any younger, right? Skilled nursing care, lab and radiology services. ChampVA does not cover 100% of cost. Enrollees are responsible for an annual deductible and their share of the allowable amount, which is usually 25%. Some services do not have a deductible. So it's just like an insurance plan. You got to read through it, understand it, look at it. ChampVA also offers a voluntary meds by mail service that delivers non-urgent maintenance medications to eligible beneficiaries. ChampVA does not cover, and again, that is a voluntary program. You can go to your grocery store and go get your meds if you want, like Clay does from Safeway. ChampVA does not cover long-term care or custodial care, which can be provided in nursing homes, assisted living facilities, adult daycare, or at a patient's home. So that's that little piece. Now, here's the you made me pull this up, Clay, because in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know. So veterans can also have ChampVA. How? By becoming a dependent of another veteran. So if it's two veterans,
you got me there. You got me there.
Right?
Yeah.
So a veteran's spouse may be eligible for civilian health and medical program of the Department of Veterans Affairs, ChampVA, if they meet certain requirements. They are not eligible for TRICARE. They are the spouse of a veteran who is P&T, or they are a surviving spouse of a veteran who died from a service-connected disability, and another one would be they are the surviving spouse of a veteran who is permanently and totally disabled from a service-connected disability at the time of death. So I think that something else important to point out there is if you're the surviving spouse today, we'll just say a Vietnam veteran, for example, who died of a heart attack, you should be looking at DIC because they may have had ischemic heart disease. They may have had hypertension, which were a contributing cause to the death as the heart attack. So they should be looking at DIC, and then they should also be looking at ChampVA. So just to want to throw that out, and potentially Chapter 35 if they want to, go learn some underwater basket weaving. So there's definitely benefits out there that people just aren't aware of, and it's frustrating. So anyway, that was the last piece on ChampVA, Clay.
Yeah, I want to transition to an ID card. Okay, now you can get the DoD ID card. I personally don't have one because I'm also a federal employee, so I don't. That's just my life. Okay, I'm in and out of Fort Belvoir all the time. I don't like it. Anyways, I do have a VA ID card, and so that's one I'm probably going to hit on. And recently, so every year, my friends and I, on the Marine Corps birthday, This happened. This is like 5-6 years in a row. We always go camping somewhere. My friend flew in from Italy this year just to go camping. So that's like, I'm telling you, we take the Marine Corps birthday seriously around here. Okay. And we go camping. And this year was in the Shenandoah National Park up in the mountains. And I roll in and they all had to pay, I think it was $20 for parking. And what did I have? I didn't plan on it. I had my VA ID card on me. And I was like, well, I'm a P&T veteran, do I have to pay? And guess what? I didn't have to pay, right? So is that $20 life-changing to me? No. But now I got to tell my friends, hey, I know y'all are P&T too. You should get off your butt and go get an ID. You can actually do it online. So like, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do that, right? But little small things like that. Now, if I wasn't a federal employee, let's say I wanted to go to Fort Belvoir Commissary, I wanted to go to the PX because they have TV sales, and we know you don't pay taxes on base, right? And so that $2,000 TV, you're going to save a few $100 on taxes just by itself, which is awesome, right? And so that ID will get you on base if you want to go shop at the commissary or for whatever reason you want to go back to base. I would recommend you just stay away personally, but but hey, some people just like that life, especially in Quantico, because I'm in Virginia. A lot of people live in Q-Town. It's like the civilian. It's a weird place, and we have retirees that live on Quantico, and they're just about that life. They're all the time, right? But they probably have their VA ID or the DoD ID card. It's just good to have in your pocket. Do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah,
it's something that's super small, but there's these moments where it will come in clutch. It's like,
right.
Oh, well, I got
Yeah,
this.
yeah, totally. So this is the new one.
Pulled it out,
for DOD. So this is the DOD one. They got, for those that remember the old school DOD ID cards where your picture's in the middle and it's just laminated. I thought that was hokey back then. I was like, really? This is it. This is the ID card. All right. So anyway, so they've updated them and they're solid. Now, here's the funny thing. You have to remember that people are people. And you're not going to get the same, unless you go to Starbucks, you're pretty much not going to get the same service at each installation. And what I'm going to get to here, Clay, is you're going to go get an ID card at an installation. Different people are going to require maybe different things. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you go on cac.mil, okay, so common access cards, right? CAC.mil, the next generation uniform services ID cards, it states that you can get the card I just showed you if you're a 100% disabled veteran. Doesn't say anything about P&T. It just says 100% disabled veteran. My ID card that I have on the top of it says 100% disabled veteran. Doesn't say P&T. So what I'm saying to you is if you're 100%, you may be able to go into a facility and they may get you a card. Or they may say, kick rocks, you need to be permanent and total. I don't own that organization. I don't tell them what to do. I'm just saying, depending on where you go, you might get a different result. So if at first you don't succeed, maybe try another place and see what happens if you're dead set on trying to get a DoD ID card. Now, why do you want a DoD ID card? Well, one, for me, I'm kind of an ID junkie. So I feel like I'm Jason Bourne or something, man. I just, so I kind of like ID cards. I don't know why. So I like it for just to have it. Two, I like that it's a DOD, and like Clay, at one point I was a contractor and I had my CAC card with a little green line on it that indicated that I was working for the Army, but as a contractor, I wasn't really in the Army, but it said Army on it, right? So I had that. So I didn't necessarily need anything else because I could get on bases and stuff anyway. The rules to access base for MWR, commissary, PX, BX, the gas station, right? All of these things, changed about, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, 6 years, 7 years, I don't know. It's been a while now, to where if you're a disabled veteran with a VA ID card, you could get onto a base. Now they run a soft kind of background check to make sure you're not crazy, and then they allow you to get on, and then that's usually good for a year, and then like every year you got to update it to that specific base. Every base you have to do that on the ones you're going to be going to often, and that's great. Maybe that's all you need. However, let's say your spouse wants to go on base and go shopping at the commissary, and you don't want to go. Well, guess what? You got to take them because you're the card holder with your VA ID card. But if you go get your DOD ID, well, now you can get your spouse an ID too, and you could stay home or go golfing while they go to the commissary or the PX or whatever it is. So that would be a good reason for that. I like it because it just feels a little more legit when you're, if you're doing airline stuff, if you're, I don't know, whatever. If you ever need to show if you get pulled over, that type of stuff, I just feel a little better giving them that one than my VA ID card. So super solid. But I think that the biggest piece is the fact that you can get your spouse and your dependent children of age an ID card, which is good for them. So that would be my take on all of that, Clay.
Yeah, there are some weird benefits, and it actually segues from the having an ID card. And just I'll disclose this to everyone here. You know those adults that go to Disney way too much? That's me.
Is that you?
That's me. That's my wife and I. We go to Disney World. We take our kids. Sometimes we don't take our kids. Okay.
You're that way.
Not taking the kids. Yeah. We're not too crazy. We go like once or twice a year.
But you guys have sweaters?
Huh?
You guys have sweaters with like,
we do some t-shirts. Yeah. I'll have to wear one. I'll just randomly wear one of our t-shirts, that we whatever. You'll see how dumb.
Yeah.
That part I'm forced to do. I don't have a choice, by the way. Having your ID card, there's these weird benefits for disabled veterans, and Disney's one of them, where if you are 100% P&T, you need an ID card because you have to do it on base, or you can do it at the gates of Disney, but you need to verify with your ID card. So another reason to have an ID card, you can get some crazy discounted tickets. You can stay at Shades of Green, which is just a Disney resort. It's one of their deluxe resorts. And there's so many of these one-off things. There's somewhere in North Carolina, I was going scuba diving once, and there was a one free scuba diving for P&T veterans. And I was like, dude, that's sick, right? That's awesome. So now I don't have to pay this $200-something fee, which is just, there's so many of these weird benefits like that. Disney, I probably use more than any of them. But, it's kind of equivalent to like, Burger King doing 10% off for veterans, whatever.
Right.
Which sounds stupid, except for think about, let's say you eat Burger King every day, which you shouldn't, by the way, but let's just say you do. You're going to be saving a lot of money in like 50 years, right? And so you have all these like really weird benefits. And real quick, Jason, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are there any like weird benefits that pop up to your mind when it comes to just being a veteran in general?
Not weird. I mean, it's basically what you're alluding to, which is I'm always asking. I ask on things that like I already know it's going to be a no, but I'm still going to ask because I'm going to put you on the spot so you can say no. Oh, you don't like veterans? I'll yelp about that later, right? So my wife gets irritated sometimes because she's like, "That's embarrassing," But I'm like, I don't care, So you use it everywhere. I mean, there's a mom and pop coffee shop that I go to, and they have veterans discounts. Home Depot, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm constantly. I mean, it's a little bit of a habit actually that you have to get into when you go to a new place to ask. But it's like you said, the one thing by itself is nothing. It's when you multiply it over everything that you're doing. And then there's also some clothing brands out there or shoes. I think I'm probably going to mess up, but I want to say like Adidas is like 30% off or something crazy for veterans. Carhartt is extremely extreme discount as well. So there's some really, really good discounts for veterans. And if you don't care if it's Nike or Adidas, then start buying Adidas and save 30. I mean, shoes aren't cheap, man.
Mhm.
So, and depending on where you live, you might jack them up, So, yeah, just being aware and asking if it's available.
Yeah, and the last veteran benefit that at least I can think of, I don't know if you have more, but this is another weird one that I had no idea until it was awarded, is federal leave. So if you become a federal civil service employee, so I became a federal employee a few years ago. I got 104 hours that I had to use the first year, which you look at free leave, you're like, oh, okay, cool, not a big deal. Except, when you start a job, do you know how much, bank or vacation you have in the bank? You have none, right? Unless you coordinated prior with your employer, you're just going to probably start in the hole or just take leave without pay. And who wants to do that? And so it's another benefit. I got 104 hours. This is I'm speaking on the Department of the Army. That's who I'm a federal employee for. I don't know about other agencies, but the Army Civil Service specifically has 104 hours. And so now all of these appointments I had for the VA, I could use 104 hours, which is just it's just less stress, right? There's all these benefits, and I'm sure there's a billion more. Applebee's on Veterans Day is like the joke. Go get your free meal at Applebee's. All of these things absolutely matter, and there's so many more out there. If you sign up for ID.me, which you have to for VA.gov,
like logging into VA and stuff. Yeah.
I get emails. I don't look at them because I don't buy stupid things. Well, I don't buy things that my wife would say I buy stupid things, but I generally don't shop. But I get all these emails of these veteran deals happening just from ID.me or whatever verify it is. And it's everywhere, especially this Christmas season. But that's really all the veteran benefits that I have. Unless I missed any, Jason, or do you want to talk about? I'm turning it over to you.
Nice. So look, at the end of the day, it's awareness, I think, from all of this stuff, right? Because we're talking about all these extra benefits that come as we get higher in the ranking as far as veteran disability is concerned. And I think that the reality is that don't just leave your disability compensation rating and payment as that's it. Things start to branch out, and you need to take action on those things, from the small things like asking for the 10% off for your meal to the I want to have my property tax exemption, please. Right? It all takes action. It's all you. You have to make all of those moves and those decisions and coordinate all of that yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you, and it's going to put money back in your pocket, thus increasing the value of your benefits. The ChampVA one, if you had to pay for insurance, like insurance for your spouse and dependent children, that would cost a lot of money.
It does. That's what I do, and I can tell you it costs money.
It's a lot of money. And so to be able to do that and have your family covered it would not even be possible for some people. So keep an eye on this stuff and share the information. If there's anything out there that we missed, I mean, obviously we're not perfect, right? We're just trying to get the juices flowing. And that's really where the magic happens. So leaving your thoughts and comments down below is a helpful thing, right? If you know of something, a great discount on something, so Space A, for example, right?
Another one. That's one we forgot.
Right?
Space A, yeah.
So Space A. So, all of these types of things are things that maybe you don't individually use, but somebody else would, like the federal student loan waiver, right? I'm not using it, but somebody else would. So please do your part if you know anything, and just leave a comment. It really does help us all out, which is the name of the game. So with that, Clay, we'll go ahead and leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate every single one of you so very much. And we hope you have a great holiday, great Christmas, Merry Christmas to everybody, good New Year, all that good stuff. And we'll see you again real soon. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.